The existence of numerous massive and mixed fossil graveyards worldwide is also great evidence for a biblical flood. According to Nilsson, the insects he uncovered are modern types, and their geographical distribution can be ascertained. It is then quite astonishing to find that they belong to all regions of the Earth, not only to the Paleoarctic regions, as was expected. In one incredible recent find, an ocean-dwelling ammonite was discovered fossilized together in tree resin with other marine and many land creatures, including spiders, mites, wasps, cockroaches, birds, and reptiles, which is incompatible with evolutionary theory. Also, the Cretaceous Santana Formation in Brazil contains a collection of sharks, skates, frogs, turtles, insects, plants, marine invertebrates, land dinosaurs, flying pterodactyls, and fish, whose tissues are so well preserved that skin, gills, muscle fibers, arteries, veins, cell nuclei, stomach contents, and ovaries with developing eggs are still visible. A similarly striking mixture of habitat-diverse organisms is encased in the Tepexi limestone layer in Mexico. At another site, freshwater crocodile, deep-sea, desert, and Arctic creatures were all fossilized in the same location. The Carboniferous Mont Shale layer in central France contains a jumbled mixture of freshwater, marine, and terrestrial creatures, including nearly 300 species of plants, pollen, and 16 classes of animals, representing about 30 genera. According to evolutionary theory, individual creatures from widely divergent habitats must have accidentally been fossilized in the same area over time. However, a much better explanation for this worldwide phenomenon is a global flood that buried various species from different parts of the world in the same place at the same time. Also striking is the existence of multiple well-preserved and species-diverse fossil graveyards with regional coverage and thicknesses up to 1,500 feet. Concerning just one example of such a graveyard, South African paleontologist Robert Broom estimated that there are 800,000 million skeletons of vertebrate animals in the Karoo Formation. Henry S. Ladd of the U.S. Geological Survey described the herring fossil beds of California by reporting that more than 1 billion fish, averaging 6 to 8 inches in length, died on 4 square miles of bay bottom. Similarly, the Sicilian hippopotamus beds are so extensive they have been mined by bulldozers as a source of commercial charcoal, while 3.5 million specimens, including living and extinct animals from all over the world, have already been removed from the La Brea pits near Los Angeles. More than 120 species of soft-bodied marine invertebrates, including at least 10 now extinct phyla, have been wonderfully preserved, often with food still in their stomachs, within the Cambrian Burgess Shale of the Canadian Rocky Mountains. Thousands of mostly oceanic fossils from numerous organisms have been exceptionally preserved, with soft tissue still evident in some specimens, over an area spanning thousands of square miles in the Ordovician Soom Shale of South Africa. Billions of fossils have been catastrophically buried in a several hundred square mile area within the Thunder Bay limestone layer in Michigan. The Carboniferous Francis Creek Shale Formation near Chicago, Illinois, encases at least 100,000 individual fossils, including a mixture of more than 400 different terrestrial, freshwater, and marine organisms, whose diversity ranges from sharks, fish, and jellyfish to scorpions, salamanders, and ferns. The Triassic Mont San Giorgio Basin is an approximately 300 feet thick layer in Italy and Switzerland that entombs a variety of exquisitely preserved large land and sea creatures, including 5 species of sharks, 7 feet long marine thalattosaurs, 8 feet long terrestrial archosaurs, 9 feet long amphibious nothosaurs, 13 feet long reptilian Taniostropheus, and oceanic ichthyosaurs with unborn babies still in their bodies. Additionally, a fossil graveyard containing more than 75 huge whales, including 20 perfectly intact skeletons, was discovered in the Chilean desert. In a separate case, 346 baleen whales were found wonderfully preserved, with some soft tissue remains on land with both terrestrial and oceanic organisms near the western coast of Peru. It's legitimate to ask how these massive marine creatures ended up buried well preserved on land in a desert with terrestrial creatures such as ground sloths and birds. It's equally reasonable to question how numerous large land dinosaurs were buried deep in the ocean many miles from the coast. A worldwide flood with overwhelmingly powerful hydraulic strength and quick burial is the only reasonable explanation for this phenomenon. The Tertiary Green River Formation covering Wyoming, Utah, and Colorado features the pristine preservation of various land and aquatic organisms such as 6 feet long garpike, sunfish, deep-sea bass, chubfish, pickerel, herring, flowering plants, birds, alligators, crocodiles, turtles, mollusks, crustaceans, lizards, frogs, snakes, numerous mammals, beetles, flies, dragonflies, grasshoppers, moths, butterflies, ants, wasps, and others. Several 100,000 marine creatures are buried with amphibians, spiders, scorpions, millipedes, insects, and reptiles in a fossil graveyard in France. Billions of straight-shelled chambered nautiloids were found fossilized with other marine creatures in a 7-foot thick, 180-mile long, 10,500 square mile area within the red wall limestone layer of the Grand Canyon. Dinosaur National Monument is one of the largest fossil graveyards in the world, containing over 329 square miles of fossilized remains and more than 800 paleontological sites in Colorado and Utah. A dinosaur graveyard 7 miles long, containing 483 individual dinosaurs, is located just outside of Cheyenne, Wyoming. An even more spectacular dinosaur fossil graveyard is the Upper Jurassic Morrison Formation, which averages about 100 feet thick, covers 13 U.S. states and 3 Canadian provinces, stretches from Manitoba to Arizona and Alberta to Texas, and features more than 353 dig sites in the U.S. alone. Other sizable dinosaur graveyards exist in the Black Hills, Gobi Desert, Hell Creek, and Lance formations. In Alaska and Siberia exists a massive graveyard of various creatures from across the world, including bears, wolves, foxes, badgers, saber-toothed cats, jaguars, lynx, mammoths, mastodons, horses, camels, antelopes, bison, caribou, moose, elk, sheep, muskox, yaks, ground sloths, and several rodents. The mass burial and preservation of this diverse assemblage of animals cannot be explained by evolutionary theory. In Agate Springs, Nebraska, there is a fossil graveyard with an interesting collection of about 9,000 animals, including rhinos, horses, camels, giant wild boars, birds, trees, seashells, and fish. In addition to great animal graveyards, more than 7 trillion tons of subsurface plant material has been compressed into coal veins on every continent in the world, including icy Antarctica. The coal veins are as much as 2,300 feet thick, with strata layer coverage exceeding 100,000 square miles in some areas. Since each foot of coal conservatively represents between 4 to 6 feet of plant remains, the tremendous depth of coal seams verify the spectacular volume of plant life that was simultaneously buried. It is entirely unreasonable to contend, as evolutionists do, that such vertical thicknesses and horizontal coverages of various plant and animal remains slowly accumulated in each of the literally hundreds of enormous fossil graveyards worldwide for several million years without decomposition. As Nilsson, an evolutionist for more than 40 years, observed, the geologic and paleobiological facts are impossible to understand unless the explanation is accepted that they are the final result of an allochthonous flood, transport, sedimentation, and burial process, including the whole Earth. Many other scientists have also confirmed a biblical flood offers the best explanation for the modern fossil record. If a worldwide flood occurred, as the evidence strongly suggests, then creationist case for the Bible's historicity is bolstered, and Earth is not several billion years old, as evolutionists proclaim.